The Roswell Enigma, a historical investigation. Part 1. A mysterious beginning. In the evening of July 8, 1947, the world stood on the brink of a revelation. The U.S. Army announced that they had recovered a mysterious flying disc in the deserts of New Mexico. Within hours, that statement was retracted, replaced by a far more mundane explanation: debris from a weather balloon. Yet, over 70 years later, the controversy surrounding Roswell remains one of the most hotly debated mysteries in modern history. Did an extraterrestrial spacecraft truly crash in the American Southwest, or was this a carefully orchestrated government cover-up? And why did this story disappear from the public eye for over 3 decades before resurfacing as one of the most well-known UFO conspiracies of all time? Part 2. Discovery in the Desert. It all began when a local rancher, Mac Brazel, stumbled upon an unusual debris field in his pasture, about 75 miles north of Roswell. The materials were unlike anything he had ever seen: thin, metallic, and strangely resilient. Unable to make sense of his discovery, Brazel reported it to local authorities, eventually leading the military to investigate. Sheriff George Wilcox, upon hearing the rancher's account, contacted the Roswell Army Airfield. At the time, the world was just becoming acquainted with the notion of flying saucers. Only weeks before, pilot Kenneth Arnold had described seeing 9 disc-shaped objects near Mount Rainier, moving like saucers skipping over water. His words captured the public imagination, fueling an era of UFO hysteria that would only intensify after Roswell. People across the country began reporting strange lights in the sky, mysterious aerial phenomena, and unexplained encounters, creating a climate ripe for speculation and fear. Part 3. The Army's astonishing admission. First official announcement from the military came from Lt. Walter Haut, press officer for the 509th Bomb Group, the only atomic bomb squadron in existence. In a shocking revelation, the press release stated that they had indeed recovered a flying disc. News spread like wildfire. Radio reports, newspaper headlines, and wire services across the globe picked up the sensational claim. For a brief moment, it seemed as though the greatest discovery in human history had been made public. However, the excitement was short-lived. Within hours, General Roger Ramey held a press conference in Fort Worth, Texas, refuting the earlier claim. Instead, he insisted that the recovered material was nothing more than a high-altitude weather balloon. Photos were released showing Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who had recovered the debris, posing with tattered remnants of a seemingly ordinary balloon. The case, it seemed, was closed. Or was it? Part 4. A silence that spoke volumes for years. Roswell faded into obscurity, buried under layers of Cold War secrecy and shifting narratives. The American public, accustomed to trusting its government, largely accepted the military's explanation. But those involved in the original incident knew something was amiss. Major Jesse Marcel, for one, never fully accepted the weather balloon story. Others within the military remained tight-lipped, adding to the growing suspicion that the truth had been deliberately buried. In the late 1970s, Marcel broke his silence, telling UFO researcher Stanton Friedman that the debris he handled in 1947 was not of this earth. He described memory metal, a substance that would return to its original shape no matter how much it was crumpled. He recalled I-beams adorned with strange hieroglyphic-like symbols. This testimony reignited interest in Roswell, and soon, more witnesses began coming forward, each with their own pieces of the puzzle. Part 5. The emergence of new testimony. As the 1980s and 90s progressed, additional witnesses surfaced, adding layers to the Roswell story. Reports emerged of a second crash site, where the main body of the craft and its occupants were supposedly recovered. Some claimed that small humanoid beings had been retrieved by the military, their bodies taken to secret facilities for study. Others suggested that the government had reverse-engineered alien technology, giving rise to advanced military aircraft far beyond the capabilities of human engineering at the time. Researcher Don Schmidt conducted extensive interviews, uncovering stories of military personnel involved in a cover-up operation. Some described how armed guards secured the crash site, while others recalled threats made to civilians who had witnessed the wreckage. Many accounts seemed to support the idea that something far more extraordinary than a mere weather balloon had crashed in the New Mexico desert. The more witnesses came forward, the more the legend of Roswell solidified in the public imagination. Part 6. The Government's Response Scene, 1994. Facing mounting public pressure, the U.S. Air Force declassified a report addressing the Roswell incident. According to their findings, the recovered debris was from Project Mogul, a top-secret operation designed to detect Soviet nuclear tests using high-altitude balloon arrays. They argued that the so-called alien bodies were likely anthropomorphic test dummies used in later experiments, whose retrieval had become conflated with the 1947 event. Ufologists dismissed the report, pointing out inconsistencies and questioning why a classified balloon project would require such extreme secrecy. The controversy continued, with believers and skeptics locked in an endless debate over what really happened in Roswell. Was Project Mogul a convenient cover story, or was it truly the end of the mystery? Part 7. The Cultural Impact. By the late 20th century, Roswell had transcended mere historical curiosity to become a cultural phenomenon. The town of Roswell embraced its extraterrestrial reputation, opening museums, hosting UFO festivals, and drawing thousands of visitors each year. Movies, television shows, and books cemented the event in popular consciousness, fueling speculation and conspiracy theories. Roswell became synonymous with the UFO phenomenon itself, inspiring everything from pop culture references to serious scientific inquiries. The rise of the Internet further amplified Roswell's legend, allowing new generations to explore witness testimonies, declassified documents, and speculative theories with unprecedented access. The mystery took on a life of its own, feeding into broader suspicions about government secrecy and the possibility of alien life. Part 8. Searching for the truth. Despite decades of investigation, the ultimate truth behind Roswell remains elusive. Scientific skeptics argue that the most plausible explanation remains Project Mogul. However, those who have spoken with first-hand witnesses insist that their testimony cannot be dismissed so easily. If an alien craft had crashed in Roswell, it would represent one of the most significant events in human history, one that has been carefully concealed from public knowledge. Some researchers continue to push for greater government transparency, seeking the release of classified documents that might hold the key to the Roswell mystery. Others turn to advancements in science and technology, hoping that future discoveries in astrophysics or artificial intelligence might provide new insights into the possibility of extraterrestrial life. Part 9. The legacy of Roswell. 70 years after the events of 1947, Roswell remains an enigma. It has become a symbol of secrecy, of curiosity, and of our unending quest for the unknown. Whether one believes that an extraterrestrial craft truly crashed in the desert, or that Roswell is merely a case of Cold War paranoia, one fact is undeniable: the incident has left an indelible mark on history. In the end, the Roswell mystery is about more than just UFOs. It is a reflection of our collective imagination, our fears, and our hopes for the future. Perhaps one day, the truth will emerge, revealing what really happened in that quiet corner of New Mexico. Until then, Roswell remains a tantalizing puzzle, one that continues to captivate and inspire those who dare to seek the answers beyond the stars.